6 on ESPN, the home opener for the Temple Owls as they open Eagle competition against the Long Island Sharks in McGonigal Hall. And good afternoon, everyone. Alongside former Temple Owl Lauren Porzio, I'm Kevin Kopp. Lauren, good to be back at home for Temple. This is their alumni meet as well. Great support celebrating the 50th year of the program. They're hoping to get things off to a right start. This is week 3 of the season. Massive improvement for Temple from week 1 to week 2. They'd like to keep that going here today against LIU.
Yeah, I think they're feeling good about being at home. It's a great opportunity to take the momentum from the first couple weeks and really make an extra mark being at home and also having some Eagle competition right with the LIU Sharks.
And LIU, this is their second week. They're looking for some of the improvement that Temple saw from week 1 to week 2. As we look inside the numbers, Temple opened with a disappointing 191-350, took second place out of 3 teams up the road at Rutgers. You can see in the middle there, bars and beam where it went wrong for the Owls, but a massive improvement and learned to go on the road, nationally ranked Florida, sold out O-Dome to improve a score 193-875, beat a power conference team in West Virginia. A lot for Temple to take away from their week 2 on the road.
Absolutely, and with a pretty young team, they're putting a lot of new members that just joined the team into these lineups, and they're also, folks from the last few years that we haven't seen on certain events making event debuts and really doing a solid job and really setting a good foundation for what I think is going to be a really successful season.
Well, and as you know, as a gymnast, nothing compares to competing at home, going up the road to Rutgers, obviously hopping on the plane to go down to Gainesville. Temple gets the first of 5 competitions here in their home gym. It means a little bit something extra when you get Eagle competition, when you have LIU here, a conference opponent, and of course it means something when you have the alumni in attendance, and I'm sure this team keenly aware of wanting to go out and perform and set the tone right in 2026.
Absolutely, yeah. There's really nothing that compares to competing at home. There's always extra energy and energy that feels just a little bit different, and being a little bit more comfortable is just, I think, going to be nothing but good news for the Owls today.
All right, since this is our first meet of the year, just a quick recap, some homework if you have not followed college gymnastics. This is a dual meet, so we will alternate routines. We'll get to see everything today, which is great. We will start with Temple on vault. We'll alternate with LIU on bars. The teams will flip in rotation 2. Temple to bars, LIU to vault, rotation 3. The Owls will be on beam, the Sharks on floor, and then rotation 4 will flip again. Temple will finish up on floor exercise with LIU on beam. All right, so the Owls just about ready to go on vault, and the starting lineup for Temple here on vault, 6 competitors. Tally Flanagan will lead off. Kirsten Johnson will be second. Jade Harden third. Brooklyn Thomas fourth. Nikki Grangifo is fifth. And Amelia Budd is in the anchor spot for Temple. So here we go, about to get the home season underway in 2026. Tally Flanagan.
Yurchenko full, a little low on the landing, but keeps it on her feet. Vault, I think, has been a really solid event for Temple thus far. They've kind of been in that high 48 range as an overall event score. Obviously, I think everybody's hoping to inch as close as they can towards that, elusive 49. So, a little bit will be taken off there for the kind of soft knees on that landing.
All right, now over to LIU on bars, getting to open the day for the Sharks. This is Rafael Pedru.
Really well done connection. Always looking for those nice long lines on bars. Front giant, half pirouette, double tuck dismount. Just a step, a really solid way to kick off that bar lineup for LIU.
Yeah, Pedru, one of the key returners for this LIU team, and she will be in the all-around today, so we will see her in all 4 events for LIU, and a fine start for the Sharks, who opened with a 190.4 in their first meet of the season, taking on George Washington, Maryland, and New Hampshire last weekend.
Yeah, and for both teams, it kind of seems like bars can be a tricky event, one that I think we'll both keep an eye on, because I think whoever can really own bars today will really be setting themselves up for a great afternoon.
Up second for Temple, Kirsten Johnson.
Another Yurchenko full, super high off the table, and a little hop on the landing. She's got so much power. It's always so impressive to see just how much height and dynamic her gymnastics is.
former USAG national champion on this event. We're still waiting for our first scores on either side to come in for Flanagan and for Kirsten Johnson on vault. You can see the rest of the lineup there for Temple: Jade Harden, Brooklyn Thomas, Nikki Rengifo, and Amelia Budd. And Lauren, you talked about the youth of this Temple team. Look no further than the next two in this vault lineup. Jade Harden, a freshman who reclassified, really should be in her spring semester as a high school senior, came and joined the team in the mid-year and right to it in the vault lineup. And then Brooklyn Thomas, a true freshman. So back-to-back in the middle of this Temple vault order. Will be interesting to see how they handle competing at home for the first time. And just a little bit of a delay over on bars as we wait for those first scores for Pedro.
We did just get the first vault score for Temple for Flanagan with the 9.4. So maybe a little bit lower than Temple was probably hoping to kick off with, but those landings are extremely important on every event, not just vault.
All right, up second for LIU, Camille Lund Rasmussen.
Nice straddle Jaeger. Great toe point. Giant full and a double tuck dismount. And just a small hop, another great hit routine. Still got to look to make sure all those handstands are hit. I think bars maybe, of all the events, has the most hidden deductions that, you know, just from watching plainly you might not notice, but you got to make sure those handstands are up, toes are pointed.
All right, back over to vault now, Jade Harden.
Yurchenko full, beautiful landing, great shape in the air, really impressive.
Yeah, you can see the way the Temple has improved here through their first half of the vault lineup. Improvement of over 2/10 from Flanagan to Johnson. I think Harden's score should tick up slightly from there. That's what you want. Let those scores build and let some of the heavy hitters in the back half of the lineup be able to, as Lauren said, bring those scores up into that 9-8 range and try to get Temple inching closer to a 49 as a team. First score, meanwhile, is in for LIU on bars. It was a 9.55 for Pedro, as you can see the gymnast by gymnast scoring in the bottom corner. We'll await the scores momentarily for Rasmussen, and up third will be Carly Cleaver.
On bars for the Sharks, Carly Cleaver.
She'll open up, big release move, a little short. So she'll get a quick break to, you know, re-chalk, pull herself together, hop back up and finish out the routine. It looks like she's going to start from the top, try the entire sequence again. Grabs onto it this time. Able to complete that connection, get those critical points for the start value of the score. Double A dismount, step forward, manages to pull it all together. Super important. Never know what else is going to come through the rest of the lineup. You got to fight for every 10th, even if you do, you know, have a fall. But that will be now a routine that LIU will look to drop with the remaining athletes in their lineup.
Meanwhile, Temple building their scores nicely. 9.775 for Harden. Here is freshman Brooklyn Thomas.
Yurchenko full. Great height, just a step. Another really nice vault.
Well, I think what has really helped Temple in their last two, you just see going for distance, going for that power, that block off the table. Obviously, as you said, Lauren, you want to bring some of those landings in. Temple hasn't really been close to a stick yet through their first 4. That you have the whole sweep of the season to try to tighten up landings, but I think big gymnastics, what you want to be seeing here just a couple weeks into the season, and we've certainly seen that in particular from Harden and Thomas in the last 2.
Absolutely, yeah. Just looking at the shape that they have in the air and on the entry, all of those details are so important, and when all of those pieces click together, the landings will come.
2 to go for Temple. We will have exhibitions today on both sides as well that will not count toward the team scores, and we will bring you as well. So LIU opened 9.55 from Pedrew, 9.625 from Rasmussen before the fall from Cleaver. So a little bit of pressure on the back 3 now in this LIU lineup. Savino, Carraro, and Angelina Hogan. And judges are going to get together here. Scores might have been out of range, or they might have had a disagreement on the start value, which, as you noted, Lauren, that's part of the calculus there of repeating those skills, going back to the Shaposhnikova that Cleaver missed the first time to try to clean that up and preserve as much value from that routine as she can.
I'm very impressed with LIU's, they have nice variety so far amongst that bar lineup. Different big release moves, different connections. It's always great to see just, a really nice kind of collection of gymnastics on one event.
You can see Savino just going through the visualization, the routine here, trying to do anything as they wait for these scores to come in. It looks like we're going to settle on an 8-9 for Cleaver. Meanwhile, you can see Harden's score has come in 9-7, and with 4 scores in, you can see that lowest score for now is shaded in light gray, so that would be the score to drop if Temple can get 2 vaults from Rengifo and Bud at the end of this rotation above a 9-4. They'll be able to drop that opening score.
Competing on bars for the Sharks, Isabella Savino.
Blind change to a huge straddled Jaeger, sky high. Bail down to the low bar, right to handstand. Giant full double tuck. And just a step after the weight, puts together a hit routine, bounced back.
Yeah, great job. A lot of pressure there, and that was what LIU needed. You can see Cleaver's score did get corrected up to a 9-1 after that judges conference. So here is Rengifo.
Yurchenko full, beautiful, absolutely stunning. She had height, she had distance, just that hop on the back end, but it was so controlled.
Yep, we'll get another look here.
Just incredible height. She has so much time to spot that landing coming down. Crowd loved it. Really good stuff.
Yeah, that should be the best of the 5 for Temple. We'll see if that can finally crack that 9-8 barrier for the Owls here in the first rotation.
Competing on bars for the Sharks, Brisa Carraro.
All right, so they have once again adjusted Cleaver's score here, 8-9-5. Again, if they can get 2 more hit routines, won't matter. Savino has 1 in the books. We'll get that number in a moment. And up 5th, Brisa Carraro.
Unfortunately, casts over on that opening handstand. So that will count as a fall, but she will take this from the top. Misses the shapash. So now with the 2 falls from Carraro, it will look like that 895 will count.
But it does go back to your point, Lauren, which is, again, you know, fall's not the end of the routine, and that's why, you know, the work that Cleaver did there to go back to hit that shapash the second time, finish the routine as cleanly as possible, that's going to preserve some valuable tenths here for LIU. And you can see Rengifo, that 9.825, highest score of the rotation so far.
And highest score of the season so far for Rengifo. Slowly inching up. She had a 9.8 last weekend. Grabs that shapash this time. Beautiful pack salto. Works for that last handstand. Comes off on the giant full. Back up to get the dismount. Giant full, double tuck. Puts it on her feet.
All right, so one more to come for LIU, and one more in competition for Temple on vault. Coming off of that season-high 9.825 for Rengifo, here is Amelia Budd in the anchor position for the Owls.
She's been a great leader on this vault team, I think, thus far this season. Yurchenko full. Beautifully done. Just that small hop, but just like Rengifo, everything before is absolutely stunning. She's grown so much confidence on this event. Another look at it here. Legs are glued together. Should be another great score.
And we talked about the massive improvement from week 1 to week 2. They went from a 48.275 on vault to a 48.7. This is probably going to land somewhere right in the middle of those two. That might tick up above a 48.7 depending on how high Bud's score can go here. They're going to drop that 9.4. This could tick up to a season high on vault for Temple. They will have an exhibition routine as well. And now LIU trying to stay in it here in this first rotation. Important routine from Angelina Hogan.
Beautiful shapash. She'll go toe hand to a bail, down to the low bar. Beautiful lines from Hogan, all the way to the toe point. Giant full, double tuck, pulls it around with just a small hop, ending that official rotation for LIU with a great hit.
All right, so some good fight from LIU in there after some tough falls to come back with some good hit routines by Savino and Hogan. And we will have exhibitions on either side. Haley Best for Temple, Zoe Claiborne for LIU.
And Bud's score did just post 9.825. So, as Kevin noted, just a notch higher than last week. 48.75 is the unofficial event score there. As we get one more look at Temple on vault from Haley Best. She's got such a unique vault. It's really challenging to do. She does that full on onto the table and then the tuck off. Nicely done.
Well, Temple closes strong with those back-to-back 9.825 season high 48.750 opening that they'll be very happy about. Season highs for Rengifo and Bud, just a quarter of a tenth off career highs for both.
Big Straddle-Jaeger on bars with a close miss.
And you can see that final bar score come in for LIU now. Angelina Hogan wraps up with a 9.6. Do have to count the one fall from Cleaver earlier. It's a 47.4 for LIU on the uneven bars. And that is a tick up from where they scored in week 1 last week.
Giant full double tuck to close out. Nice dismount. With the exhibition routines, it is always nice to kind of get out there, get some pressure sets done. The fall obviously does not count towards the scores, so just really great to get some practice in a real competition setting.
All right, well, one rotation is in the books here at McGonigal Hall. Fine start for Temple, season high on vault, 48.750. They hold the lead over Long Island at the end of one. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, everyone. Kevin Kopp, Lauren Porzio with you here in McGonigal Hall. Temple with the lead at the end of one rotation, 48.750 on vault for the Owls, 47.4 for Long Island on the uneven bars as the teams will get ready to switch and head to rotation 2. There's a look at Taylor Colwell in her second season as the head coach of LIU. And you look at this team, Lauren, which brings back some key pieces from a season ago competing in the Eagle. Last year, the competition was held right next door at Temple's Liacouras Center, and a number of LIU Sharks from that 2025 team named first or second team Eagle All-Tournament, and gives you something to build around here in year 2. We've seen the progression from Temple in their third year under head coach Hillary Steele. Long Island looking for that second thing as they move forward here in the 26 season.
Yeah, only going into her second season, I'm sure it has to feel good to have a core set of athletes that you trust, that feel confident in what they're doing and what you're building with the program. And so to have really that group to focus on and really rally newcomers to the group, I feel like can only have positive momentum for the team as a whole. And, you know, coaches have to feel good about that.
And we got to see Cleaver in that first rotation. We'll see Kyra Cartwright later today. And then not even on that list, but obviously a key returning piece, Rafael Pedro, who will be in the all-around after opening with a 9.55 on bars. So LIU trying to pick it up as they head to vault in rotation 2. Temple on the uneven bars. We'll be back with the second rotation here from McGonigal Hall on the other side of this break. Rotation 2 about to get underway here in McGonigal Hall. And Lauren, you said it earlier, this is the make or break. There's really no way around it. Temple has had their share of struggles on the uneven bars. That is where they go next. The good thing is they're taking a bunch of momentum with them. They got to feel really good coming off of a season-best 48.75 on vault. Closed strong with 3 scores of 9.8. But now time to conquer some of the demons that have plagued Temple on this event. And no better place to do it than at home.
Exactly, yeah. The first 2 meets, I think you could probably ask anyone on the team and say, you know, that's the event we need to really hone in on and make some big improvements. And doing this event at home has got to be the best opportunity to find a solid 6-for-6 lineup where everybody feels good and see how far they can take it.
Meanwhile, LIU trying to improve on a 47.4 in their opening as we get set for rotation number 2. The Sharks on vault and the Owls on beam. Vault was the best event of the 4 for LIU in their opening weekend meet, so let's see what they can do here week 2 for LIU. Brooke Burkhart will lead off. Annalisa Page will be second. Rafael Pedrew will be third. Kyra Cartwright fourth. Eden Stipik fifth. And Zoe Claiborne in the anchor spot for LIU. No exhibition for the Sharks here. We will have 2 exhibition bars routines for Temple.
And those exhibition spots will be crucial because, as we said, with it not being Temple's best event right now, great opportunity for folks to get some pressure sets in and maybe crack into the lineup next week and moving forward.
All right, here we go. Second rotation underway. Brooke Burkhart gets us started.
Yurchenko full in a tucked position. Great height off the table, just a small hop. But some really nice power on that vault.
Yeah, fine, clean start for LIU there. They are underway. And now for this young Temple team, their lone senior, as we get a look there at Burkhart on replay. Fine beginning for LIU. Here is DeHaan, the lone senior on the Temple roster, to get things started on the uneven bars.
She'll go blind change Pike Jaeger directly down to the low bar. Nicely done. Giant full into the double tuck dismount. Fights for the stick. Great way to kick off that lineup and great way for Reese to bounce back from last week. She posted a 9.425 last week, and I think we'll definitely maybe see some higher marks this week after that routine.
Yeah, trying to get back to where she was in that opening week, right under that 9.8 number, and so tough to do. Again, you're the opener, you're on bars. We talk about all of the pressure in that environment at Florida, competing in front of that crowd, and not an easy opening for DeHaan for sure, but stronger for it as she comes back here. Back to vault, Annalisa Page.
Yurchenko full, small step forward. Looked like she was fighting for that stick, but another vault landed on the feet.
Well, let's go back over to bars here. Check out the end of DeHaan's routine.
There was a little shuffle of the feet. So we'll see how the judges take that, whether stick or not. But nonetheless, a great start. And having someone experienced on an event that maybe is nerve-wracking for the whole team, I think is a smart play by the coaching staff over at Temple, just to have someone that can hopefully hit a routine, feels good about it, and put everyone a little bit at ease to kick things off.
Yeah, no doubt that DeHaan checks those boxes for the Owls. She starts with a 9.7. And up second for the Owls will be Mariella Bruick.
Toe hand, grabs on, pack salto down to the low bar, nicely done. Fights for that half pirouette. She'll bring it back up to the high bar to finish things out. Double layout. Couple feet shuffles. Makes it to her feet. Good fight out of Bruick on that routine.
Well, and again, I think this is the first step forward for Temple. Obviously, you know, it goes without saying, you want to hit 6 routines, and then you can take that once you've kind of established that. Then you look at some things you can clean up, you know, little handstand, little feet at the end there for Bruick. And now back to Pedrew.
Front pike dismount, or vault, pardon me, with a stick. Really nicely done. And you don't always see the front entry vault, so it's always great to see a little bit of variety on vault. And that's a blind landing.
I was going to say, well, and a big part of why you don't see it and why you don't see a lot of sticks coming out of it either, that blind landing. And this is magnificent by Pedrew.
Yeah, so much good body awareness in the air to know exactly where she was to kick out and find that landing without movement whatsoever.
All right, so LIU looking comfortable here on vault. You can see those first 2 scores, 9.65, 9.6 for Burkhart and Page. Waiting on the scores here for Bruick. Up third will be Megan White.
Getting a judges conference quickly on bars. And as we sort of started mentioning earlier, it's all about making sure those start values are, where they should be, that, for the most part, judges are aligned on the connections and what might have been missed, what was missed, or what was, put together to make sure that the scores are, in alignment in as much as they can be.
Meanwhile, the number in for Pedro, who gets a 9.775. It's an improvement of 10.5 from where she started last week, so good to see. Again, we talked about how Temple built from a low 191 to a high 193, better than 2 points improved from their first meet to their second, and that would be something LIU would love to see here. All right, 9.575 for Bruick. Judges were 2.5 tenths apart, but they got within range, and that'll be the number. And here is Megan White up third.
Her season debut on this event. Grabs the shapash, pack salto back down to the low bar. Got that pirouette right on top of the bar, nicely done. Toe shoot to handstand. Front pike half dismount with a stick. Soaks it in for a second, as she should. Really nice way to jump out of the gate on a bar lineup for the season. Take one more look at that dismount. Awesome work.
Yeah, what a finish to her debut. That is not easy to spot that landing, and great job by White to finish up. You could see her reaction, how happy she was. Back over to vault, Kyra Cartwright.
Yurchenko full, beautiful in the air, great body position. LIU putting some great vaults on the mat over there.
Yeah, this has been very solid for LIU as we get another look at Cartwright.
Just nice and extended. Her hips were really open.
All right, bar scores in these first 2 weeks for Temple: 47.95, 47.875. So they have not broken a 48 yet. Certainly on pace to do that if they can keep this going. 3 hit routines. And next up, true freshman in Ava Supfin. Had a really nice debut at Rutgers. Great routine. That was a 9.8 up in Piscataway. Did have a fall last week at Florida, trying to bounce back here in her first McGonigal Hall routine.
Blind change. She'll go Pike Jaeger. Great grab. Pack salto. Catches a little close, but fights to make sure she keeps things moving. Nicely done. I love Ava's toe point. Just the lines on bars for her are beautiful. Giant full double tuck dismount. And grabs the stick. Back on track for the freshman. Keeping the momentum hot over there on bars for Temple.
Great routine for Sutphin, and Temple, yeah, rolling right now on bars.
Her chest position so great on that dismount. That is really, true stick, everything kind of upright and no movement. Yurchenko full over on vault with just a hop. Nicely done there as well.
Yeah, both teams, you can see the value of building some momentum here throughout the rotation. Back-to-back 9.7 plus scores for Pedro and Cartwright. Here's another look at Stipik.
Feet were glued together. I think we'll see another solid score there. I'm sure they're hoping for something to maybe inch up into that 9.8 range. Saw the 9675 come up for white. Just waiting on.
Remember,
one
that
more
is
score.
the first routine of the season, so season high for white, and we'll see what Sutphin scores here. Up 5th for Temple, Nastasia Simone, Henry Jubatana.
Blind change, Stradljaeger, huge, little slip, it looked like, of her hand. She's gonna hop down, collect herself. Oh, it looks like it broke, actually. Not something you see every day. Working with the head judge there to figure out best next steps. Most importantly, don't want to have a safety issue.
Are they going to get another set of grips?
Yeah.
Two gymnasts just went off running in the direction of the practice facility. I'm wondering if that's what it is. She's looking at that grip on her right hand.
And I'm not sure, because I've actually never seen this happen. If it's a broken grip, if she will get to fully start over.
Yeah, that's a new one. So
we're
that's
all
good.
gonna learn
That's
live.
two good teammates who took off, just sprinted up the steps through the crowd, and are out over the practice facility is adjacent here to the main arena gym in McGonigal Hall. So an unusual delay. And a shame for Temple, who has really good rotation going, and a little bit of a shame for LIU. I'm sure they want to get this 6th vault in. They've got it going right now as well, with Stipik scoring a 9.775. Ava Sutphin scored 9.7. I felt maybe a touch low. All right, and they are going to move over to vault and have Zoe Claiborne finish up.
Yurchenko full, little hop, caps things off really solid for LIU. Even with the weight, managed to get another solid performance locked into that lineup.
Leading encores for the Owls, Robin Dunn.
All right, so Nastasia Simone, Henry Jubatana is going to go at the end. They're going to continue the rotation with Robin Dunn. I don't know if they'll put the exhibitions in front of her or put her back in 6th, but we'll continue. She is going to compete the routine, and they will begin scoring it from where the equipment broke. So everything until that point is fair game for being judged. It's basically as if time is frozen at that moment. She'll complete the routine, and they'll judge the rest. So we'll move on to Robin Dunn in the anchor spot for Temple.
Shapash, pack salto, nicely done. Robin is such a great athlete. Great lines. I think she really pays attention to the details. Huge dismount, just a hop. And when the team needed it the most, gives the Owls another hit.
Yeah, it's not quite the same as following a fall, but it is almost just you need kind of that palate cleanser, tone setter, get back on track here after, you get taken off of your rhythm a little bit. And what's really important now is, in a way, it does take some of the pressure off of Nastasia Simone here as well, because you do have 5 hit routines. Obviously, she wants to go back out there and finish her routine the best that she is able to, but it does take a little bit of that pressure away.
Yeah, and I'm sure there was a little bit of extra pressure on Robin Dunn. I mean, if it was me, I would be terrified. Something you've never seen, you know, are my grips okay?
Yeah.
You know, so kudos to her for really just getting up there, attacking it, and doing the job.
There is a distinction between a grip coming loose and falling off and actually breaking. That's an important distinction here, is that it's an equipment malfunction. So LIU is locked in, 48.5. Zoe Claiborne, 9.525, not able to improve where they were, but 48.5, dramatic improvement again. We talk about, you know, you learn from week 1 going into week 2. LIU has clearly done that, a nice improvement on bars, but now an enormous improvement on vault, and they should feel really good about where they are at the halfway point. All right, well, this is going to be, I think, as much a mental test, Lauren, for Nastasia Simone as anything else. Like, just to go back there and, trust your equipment, trust the whole setup here, and just see what you can do to finish up. I mean, there is no practice or no simulating this type of thing.
No, and, you know, the beginning of her routine started out so well. She was really, really looking great, and so I'm hoping she can kind of put herself back right where she was, feel confident about how she started, and attack the rest of this routine.
All right, here she is.
Beautiful pack salto, nearly textbook. Just the dismount, giant full, right on top, double tuck. And gets a stick. So impressive. I don't know if those were a brand new pair of grips or ones that maybe she's practiced with, but regardless,
she should
so
keep them.
Impressive. And she absolutely should keep them. Keep those things tight for the rest of the season.
That is some real mental fortitude there for Nastasia Simone Henry Jubaton. I've never seen a teammate's routine get completed in the middle of yours, coming back to finish, blocking all that out, and finishing strong. That gets well-deserved congratulations from her teammates and her coaches. We will have 2 exhibitions for Temple. So the 9.5 is the lowest score at the moment. That's from Robin Dunn. And again, if I'm understanding how this routine is going to be evaluated for Nastasia Simone, I think this should improve on that slightly. And it's the first, hit bar set for Temple this year. They've cracked a 48. They'll get to improve on that, hopefully, at least by another few tenths. And we'll see where things go from there. Meanwhile, 2 exhibitions for the Owls. We'll see Emma Rutherford and Ella Beck.
I saw Emma in warm-ups having a little bit of trouble doing, a couple of the key pieces of her routine. So I'm hoping she'll be able to put it together. Everything will click.
Oh, and how about that score for Nastasia Simone Henry Jubaton? 9.775. Well done.
Very well done. Under the most unique of circumstances. She'll remember that one for a long time.
No doubt. And she's really emerged as a real weapon for Temple on the uneven bars. She had a better than a 9.8 last week at Florida. Here is Emma Rutherford.
Little bit of a slip right on that opening clear hip. Another one of those routines where, theoretically there's no pressure, but obviously, we're fighting for maybe a spot in the lineup, and so the exhibition routines certainly do take on a unique pressure of their own. She'll take this from the top. Grabs the shapash with the shoot over directly back down to the low bar. Clear hip, toe on, pike half off, same dismount that we saw earlier from Megan White. Puts it on her feet, so after the early slip, put together a hit routine.
Yeah, good fight there from Rutherford, and we'll get her scores, and then Ella Beck will have an exhibition, and we will be at the halfway point of today's competition. Team scores are up to date, so Temple, that is a season high by some margin, 48.425, and they're at a 97.175 at the midpoint. LIU, 48.5, season best on vault, and they too are on pace for a season high with a 95.9. That puts them just below a 192 pace. Temple on a plus 194 pace, 194.350 if they can match their scores through the first two events. So both teams in good position, a lot to like right now.
Yeah, and it's great to get an early look just at conference competition. Not to look too ahead, but it always is kind of, you can't help it but to kind of scope out what that final conference championship meet is going to look like. And it's early days still, but there is so much potential to be seen, and you can see kind of how these teams are already shaping up. So much improvement already in the first 3 weeks.
And worth noting that the Eagle competition this year will be held at LIU. Temple got to host last year. Great competition next door at the Leah Center. First time that gymnastics was contested in that arena, and LIU will have an opportunity to get to be the center of the Eagle universe there at the end of March, and should be a great competition. Ella Beck, who is, you talk about the pressure, fighting for that lineup spot. She was in last week, had a fall, trying to put herself back in position here.
Great pike Jaeger. Pack salto, little soft on the catch, but keeps it moving. Giant full, double tuck, touches down on the dismount. Looks like she came off a hair early, but it was looking really good up until then. Just had to kind of hold on to that bar for one extra half a second before coming off.
All right, so with those exhibitions complete, we are through two rotations. It looks like we may have a scoring change for Temple. You can see Robin Dunn improved to a 9.75, at least by what we've got in the official score. So we'll confirm everything, but if that stands, Temple's bars tick up by a few tenths. 97.350 at the midpoint for the Owls, 95.9 for Long Island. We'll sort it all out. We'll be back halfway home here at McGonigal Hall. Welcome back, everyone. Kevin Kopp, Lauren Capone with you here inside McGonigal Hall. Temple 97.375, though they are still sorting out some of the bar scoring from that unusual second rotation. May continue to update here as we continue. Long Island, we're sure of 95.9, as both teams have an impressive second rotation here inside McGonigal Hall. And Lauren, as we look, we've talked about the improvement for Temple, obviously looking for an improved performance as a team this season in 2026. Competitive in the Eagle at home last season. They've got their sights set on trying to compete for an Eagle title and trying to get back into that top 36 and into NCAA regionals under Hillary Steele in her third season as head coach.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with, sort of the quick improvements that they've made. I mean, you saw, that season debut from the team maybe probably wasn't what everybody wanted in the 191 range, but to come back quick and jump to 193, they grabbed a win over West Virginia. It's just, I think, really impressive to see how Coach Steele has taken this team. She's gotten them to feel confident in what they're doing so early in the season, which is not always the case, especially with a younger team. But how could you not feel good with that resume from Coach Steele?
Well, she was a terrific gymnast in her time at Georgia, SEC vault champion as an individual, part of 2 of those 5 straight NCAA championships that Georgia won under Suzanne Yocklin. A neat full circle moment later this month where she'll get to take her new team, Temple Owls, back to her alma mater, compete at Stegman Coliseum in a quad meet at the end of this month. I know that she is going to get just a wild ovation from the 10,000 plus fans at Stegman there to welcome her back as an opposing head coach. She's got a terrific reputation down there in Athens, and yeah, she's brought that with her, and Temple hoping to be competitive here in 2026. They just put together their best bars score of the year. We don't know exactly what the score is. We're going to wait for the judges and the scorekeepers to tell us, but we know it was 6 hit routines for Temple, and we're going to come back to get you set for the Owls moving to balance beam and LIU to floor in our 3rd rotation. We're back to McGonigal Hall on the other side of this break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Kopp, Lauren Porzio with you as we get set for rotation number 3 inside McGonigal Hall. Both teams enjoying season highs in the 2nd rotation. Temple on bars, LIU on vault. Since we did have so many scores change, we did want to circle back. These are your official scores. Changed to Mariella Bruick, who was dropped to a 9.55. How about Nastasia Simone Henry Jubatana all the way up to a 9.8? Robin Dunn 9.75. So that is a 48.625 for Temple on bars. It shatters their previous season high. They have a 97.375. Long Island 95.9 as we get set for rotation 3. Temple will be on the beam. LIU will be on floor and ready to go here. Leading off for Temple, it is Haley Best.
We saw Haley do an exhibition vault earlier, but her first kind of official lineup spot here, opening things up on beam.
And she had a 9.275 in the opener at Rutgers. Big bounce back last week, 9.725.
I've always thought there's nothing more pressure situation than being the only person competing in the room on beam specifically.
It's the benefits and the drawbacks to having the dual meet. All eyes on you. She gets her own beam music here.
Handspring layout step out. Nicely done. Making Billy Joel proud. Slightest of wobbles on the leap combination there, but keeping things moving really well. Great jumps, looking for those, 180-degree angles on the splits and straddles with nice height. Gainer full dismount. And the Owls are one up, 1 hit on beam.
Well, we talked a little bit about it with Reese DeHaan in that opening position on bars. There's probably no more important tone setter in your lineup than leading off on beam. Haley Best, in her junior season in that position for Temple, delivers a great start. And now trying to do the same for LIU over on floor. This is Alina Danlichenko.
Floor always just, such the fun event for everyone involved. Get, the importance of the performance as well as the skills. She'll open up front through to double back. Nicely done. Great leap combination. That switch ring was well above 180 degrees. Double pike. Fights to keep it in bounds. Nicely done. Avoided that automatic 1/10 deduction. A solid opening hit for the Sharks over on floor.
Yeah, that was not easy on that second pass because you get that controlled lunge, but even a regular controlled lunge backwards was taking her out. So great awareness of her positioning on the floor there to, as you said, avoid that 1/10 neutral deduction. Meanwhile, Haley Best opens up for Temple on beam. Score a 9.675 for the Owls, and trying to continue that momentum. Up second is Ella Beck.
Handspring layout step out, picks up the front leg a little bit, but stays on. Nice toe point on the leaps and jumps there. Side aerial, no issues, right up. She'll gear up for her dismount, round off back 1.5. With just the step, another solid hit for the Owls over on beam. Again, continuing that notion of early season, let's get comfortable,
Yep.
Let's start to get confident, let's get 6 hit routines on every event, and we can build from there.
Yeah, fine place right now for Temple to be after their first 2 routines. Going into the freshman Ava Sutphin, who will be 3rd, Megan White 4th, Nikki Rengifo 5th, and Robin Dunn. Always fun to watch on beam in that anchor position. The judges conference over on floor exercise. They were off on start value. One judge had it at a 10, the other at a 9.9, so likely confirm that discrepancy here. And they're going to correct downward, unfortunately for LIU. So 9.9 start value, it'll be a 9.6 for Dan Lachenko in the opening routine, at least unofficially, as we'll continue here up second for the Sharks. Zoe Claiborne, Annalisa Page 3rd, Kyra Cartwright 4th, Raphael Pedru will be 5th, Eden Stipik 6th, and then an exhibition from Maya Olbermann.
Front 1.5, back layout step out. And then she'll go back 1.5, front pike immediately after. Round off double tuck to close. Second hit for the Sharks. Looking to build on that 9-6.
An important routine coming up here for Temple as you get another look at this final pass from Claiborne. Nice job to start by the Sharks, and Sutphin will have her first beam routine of her collegiate career here in McGonigal Hall.
Just doing great work on bars, so excited to see her take on beam. Handspring layout, step out, no issues, straight up. Switch leap to a split jump. She's got a nice confidence so far going. Really steady pace. Side aerial, takes a step out of it, and great save. Round off, back 1.5 dismount, little hop of the feet, and that's a hit.
Great job by Sutphin in her first beam appearance. Going to be a really good freshman for this Temple team. We've seen what she has done on bars in the first couple weeks, now being able to add a second event to her repertoire. It's a great start. All right, up third for LIU, trying to keep that score building going here. 9-6, 9-6-5 for Claiborne. Up third, Annalisa Page.
Punch front 1.5 to open things up. Front full front layout, beautifully done. And a double tuck to close, a little bit of a small hop forward. But a nice hit from Paige. She had great dance. Take another look at that second pass. Really nicely done.
All right, back over on beam now for Temple. This is Megan White. Back-to-back 9.45s for the Owls. Thought maybe a touch low. Beam scoring's been a bit tight.
I caught a couple, wobbles, and they do certainly add up, but I would agree with you there.
No, and not a misconnection. Sometimes that's where you can really see the tenths fall off, but both were a 10-0 start value, so 5.5 tenths in deductions. It's been tight. We'll see what Megan White can do.
Handspring layout, step out, beautifully done. Megan's been a great asset to the beam lineup in her time here at Temple.
9.8 last week at Florida, career high 9.825.
Round off, back 1.5. Controlled small hop, nicely done. I saw just a little bit of a wobble on her sort of split jump half that she does facing the side of the beam. But other than that, I thought a really solid routine. So I'm sure the Owls are hoping for a little bit of a jump above that 9.4 mark.
Yeah, let's see what Temple can do here. 4 hit routines in a row, and again, massive improvement from week 1 to week 2. A lot of that was because of beam, where it really got away from them at Rutgers, all the way down to 46.575. They improved on that by nearly 2 full points, 48.55 last week at Florida. Back over to floor exercise now for LIU.
Yeah, but it does go back to what we were saying, just about putting 6 hit routines up. There's nothing else you can do. You know, kind of once those routines are done, it's up to the judges. So they're doing their jobs.
Now Kyra Cartwright looking to do the same after 3 9.6 or 9.65s in a row for LIU. Big start.
Huge. Back 2.5. It was sky high. When she first blocked up, I said, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
That was great.
I had the same reaction, yeah.
And so sharp in the air as well.
Cartwright, one of those returning All-Eagle tournament team members.
Back 1.5 into, I think, what looked to be a front layout, a little bit of a soft knee. Last pass, double tuck, nicely done. Some sky-high tumbling here from Cartwright.
Offense competing on the balance beam for Temple, Nikki Rangifo.
Another look here at this last pass for Cartwright. Yeah, not lacking for power.
And she found a great landing as well. So I think in a similar situation, I'm sure that LIU is looking for maybe something above the 9.6 range.
I was going to say, I think that should hopefully get them out of the 9.6 range. All right, over to Nikki Rangifo now on beam for Temple. Had a really nice vault earlier today for the Owls. And you did see that Megan White jumps up to a 9.7 for Temple. 2 routines to go.
A similar jump to White, that split jump half, but starting from the side of the beam adds a little extra difficulty. Handspring layout step out. Beautiful side aerial. Nikki, another athlete with just really beautiful toe point. You don't get to see it as much on vaults, it happens so quick, but to see her on beam really show off the artistry that she has in her repertoire. She gears up for her dismount. She'll go back handspring, step out, back 1.5, right up, nailed it.
A really nice day here for Rangifo. It's the new Temple boxing gloves. That's to celebrate the stuck landing.
A little Rocky inspiration,
There
I
you
do
go.
hope, being here in Philadelphia.
All right, over to floor. Rafael Pedro continuing her day in the all-around.
Opens with a double tuck. Another athlete with really great artistry that she gets to show off here on floor. And I can always appreciate, when these routines do have so much thoughtful choreography, it does factor into the score. She'll go front layout, front full. Nice shapes on the leaps. Closes things out well.
I think that's a great floor. That's what a floor routine should be.
100%, yeah. Oftentimes I think people forget how much it can factor into a score, just the end-to-end performance, quality and value, telling a story, really just dancing alongside, really impressive tumbling.
Yeah, it is artistic gymnastics for a reason, and Pedro, that's a terrific job. Great routine, and now to finish up for Temple, they have really picked it back up here, 9-7, 9-7-5. Table is set in the anchor position for the veteran, Robin Dunn.
Opens up with that wolf turn. Just a really stunning beam worker. I think has kind of become her bread and butter as she adds some more events to her lineup.
Yeah, and 3 now for Temple. I called her a veteran. She's a sophomore, but, 2 years of competition for this Temple team. Taking over for some big shoes, Brooke Donabedian, an NCAA regional competitor on this event.
Little balance check on the front aerial. Switch leap, straddle, really beautiful. She'll gear up for her dismount here. She'll kick into a handstand, into a gainer full. Just a small hop. But that's 6 for 6 over on beam for the Owls.
Yeah, they keep rolling right along here after a season best on bars. May not get quite there here on beam, but they will take 6-hit routines and keep that momentum going with a chance to finish up on floor here at home. Over on floor for LIU, this is Eden Stipik. Final competition routine of this third rotation before we have exhibitions on both sides.
Huge double pike to open things up. Lots of power, but she knew exactly where she was. Such a controlled landing. You saw that 9-8 mark come up. So again, really building momentum to open it up for Eden here. Double tuck. Keeping the energy going over on floor for LIU. They're also 6 up, 6 hit.
And again, for a team that came out open 190.4 in week 1, there's been a lot to like here for LIU. Should feel really good about where they are. Did have to count that fall on bars early on, but no trouble since then. All right, back over to beam. 2 exhibitions for Temple, 1 for LIU here. Nastasia Simone, Henry Jubatana.
Handspring layout. Step out is beautiful in the air, kind of picked up that front foot for a little bit of a balance check. She does that switch leap into that standing layout step out. Another handspring layout step out to a back 1.5, but sat down on the dismount. Just needed a little more rotation coming out of that back handspring.
All right, over on floor in exhibition for LIU, this is Maya Oberman.
Double pike, puts her hands down in front of her. Just not quite enough rotation to get her all the way around there. Unique turns there with taking a nice long dance break here.
And over on beam in exhibition, Brooklyn Thomas. Now, Thomas has been in the competition lineup the first 2 weeks, competing here in exhibition.
Makes the front toss around with a couple balance checks. Handspring, back 1.5 dismount, catches with a step behind. She's gonna keep putting those pressure set numbers in these competition settings. All the skills there. Again, hit routines are really of utmost importance at this stage in the season. So she'll keep putting in the numbers in. And Temple looks like they wrapped up with officially with that 9.425 from Dunn. Couple balance checks in that routine. I think that maybe did it with the tight scoring over on beam.
Yeah, it's tightened up a little bit. We'll see how that translates for LIU in the final rotation. But the Sharks are able to make up a little bit of ground here in rotation number 3. They pick up a few tenths, 144.3. Temple, 145.4. We'll get set for rotation number 4 from McGonigal Hall after this. Three rotations down, 1 to go. Temple 145.4. They have led wire to wire here in this dual meet against Long Island, though the Sharks able to make up a little bit of ground after a really good floor rotation, 144.3 for LIU. Kevin Kopp, Lauren Porzio with you here in McGonigal Hall, and Lauren, something that we have talked about right from the beginning of the broadcast today. You know, Temple is a young team, only one senior on this roster. And so, you know, I think this competition, especially in this first month of the season, so valuable. You look at how this roster breaks down: 9 freshmen, 8 sophomores, 8 juniors, 1 senior, no fifth years, which feels unheard of for, you know, the last couple of years that we've been living in a post-COVID world with 5th and 6th and sometimes 7th year graduates. So this is truly a young team for Temple. In the opener against Rutgers, they had 7 gymnasts who were competing for the first time collegiately. And so you really can't overstate how important the early season experience is right now.
Yeah, and when you put that into perspective, I think it's a real kudos to Coach Steele and the coaching staff, and it's starting to really show what that coaching staff believes in and can be about to take a young team and make an immediate impact. They're already improving, they're hitting routines, they're getting what needs to be done early in the season done, and I think that we're going to see some really good things from these freshmen. They are being asked of big things at an early stage, and they're really rising to the occasion.
Chance to finish up strong as the Owls head to floor exercise in our final rotation. LIU will finish up on beam when we come back. Fourth and final rotation here in McGonigal Hall. LIU to finish on beam, Temple to finish on floor here in Philadelphia. Home opener for Temple, Eagle opener for both of these teams who will compete for an Eagle championship at LIU. With 5 others, GW is the reigning champion, won it here in Philadelphia last year. And now fourth rotation underway with LIU to begin on balance beam. Here we go. Really good floor set for LIU, highlighted by that 9-8 from Rafael Pedru. She'll be in this lineup as well up fourth. Leading off beam specialist Katie Bills McCoy.
Yeah, I think LIU has to be excited, taking some really good momentum going into beam. Hard event to end on. But with the day that they've had, I think everyone can feel really good about what's to come. Triple series to open things up. Back handspring, layout step out, no issues there. Solid on the jump series. Gainer pike, dismount, step off the end, but opens things up with a solid hit.
All right, fine beginning there for LIU. And Temple, as you get a look at that Gainer pike off the end, just a small step forward for Bills McCoy. LIU underway, and now Temple underway on floor with Ella Beck.
Double pike, really nicely done. Perfect example of a good controlled landing.
True freshman has been in the floor lineup both of the first 2 weeks. 9.575 in the opener, 9.7 last week in Gainesville.
I think it's always nice to see freshmen on floor. I think, you know, after a few weeks being in the lineup, they can really start to settle in.
I think different getting to do it in front of your home crowd as well will certainly open a performance up.
Performing on floor in college, so different than in, you know, junior JO gymnastics. It's just the first time you do it and, you know, experience it, I think it's a little bit of a shock of, you know, how much is too much?
Yeah.
And the answer is normally never too much. Back 1.5 front layout. Beautifully done. Nice way to kick things off over on floor.
Yeah, great start. Meanwhile, LIU be happy about a 9.675 from Katie Bills McCoy to begin things. As look at the end of the routine there for Ella Beck. Back over on beam now, Camille Lund Rasmussen.
Handspring layout, step out. Little bounce check on the full turn. They can really sneak up on you, but it is a requirement. Side summy. And another Gainer pike dismount and grabs the stick for Rasmussen.
Offense on the floor for Temple, Amelia Budd.
Both teams rolling right along here in the fourth rotation. Over to Amelia Budd following an opening 9.675 for Ella Beck, matching Bills McCoy. The opening routine score.
Front 1.5 back layout to that huge jump. I love that pass from Budd. It shows so much dynamic, like height, power. Great lines on the leaps. Front double full. keeping things moving for the Owls on floor.
Up next on the meeting for LIU, Alina Danilchenko.
Look at that front double full. You know, obviously, two-pass routines have become more prevalent, but you end with that E-level skill. It's a part of the requirement for Bud to meet that level of difficulty, and does there. Great routine. We'll see what that scores as we go back over to beam. Alina Danilchenko.
Yeah, and the 9.425, she's following up. Again, that tight beam scoring that we're seeing a little bit of today. Handspring layout step out. Looking really solid thus far. Those judges looking for them to give nothing away, and so far so good for Alina. Solid front aerial. Round off, double full dismount. Really nice dismount, just a step, but an incredibly powerful dismount. Nice routine.
All right, judges did conference here on Amelia Budd's routine, and one judge had it at a 9.9. They did lower that to a 9.85. It's going to be averaged with a 9.75 for a 9.8. It is still a career best for Amelia Budd. So fine start here to her home season, and Temple moving right along. 9.675, 9.8 to open up third. Mariella Bruick. Mariella back in the floor lineup this week after a 9.3 week one at Rutgers.
Front full, front layout to a big jump. Had a lot of power coming out of that, and a lot of good energy coming out of her first pass as well. Double tuck, beautifully done. A really fun routine from Bruick. Nicely, nicely done.
Temple halfway home here on floor. We get another look at the second pass from Bruick.
Nicely done, nice and confident, and kind of jumps right into her dance and, you know, keeps the energy up, which I think is so important as we flip back over to beam.
Pitt Drew. Beautiful press mount.
Yeah, finishing off her day in the all-around, which she is the only all-arounder amongst both teams. So the crown is hers to take today.
Nice low-pressure all-around win. But she's backed it up nicely. She has done a great job today.
Absolutely.
Coming off of a 9.8 on floor in rotation 3.
Handspring layout step out. Ends up coming off. Thought she was going to keep that on. She had really good fight. Hard to tell from this angle if she was just, brought her back handspring in a little crooked, pushed her off center just a little bit, but she will mount back up, finish things in this routine. Round off back 1.5 with just a small step.
All right, first real hiccup for LIU in a long time. They've been rolling right along, so we'll see if they can finish well with Cartwright and Kane in those last two routines. Now over to Robin Dunn. Back-to-back 9.8s here for Temple. How about Dunn breaking into the floor lineup last week? Not an easy first place to do it. 9.8. She's just such a terrific gymnast.
Back pike, a little bit of a chest down with that hop out. But yeah, I don't think you can say enough about, I think I said it earlier, she just seems to really pay attention to the details. Front layout, front full, nicely done. She's got great artistry.
Yeah, but has evolved from someone who really came in, competed right away on beam, and was enormously helpful to the Owls in that event to be a solid 3-event competitor. A key piece of this puzzle for Temple in 2026.
Back 1.5 front layout. Really nicely done. Closes it out strong.
He really fought back after that tough first pass. Came in low. I thought got stronger as that routine went on.
Absolutely.
All right, 2 routines left in competition, though both teams are going to have 2 exhibitions in this final rotation, so we'll have a little bit of time after the dust settles on the scoring. This is Kyra Cartwright.
Opens up with a switch side. Looks nice.
2 important routines here for LIU, trying to drop that fall right now from Pedro.
Handspring layout, step out. Side aerial with a slight bounce check, but saves it really nicely. Round off, back double full, just a slight hop. Really big dismounts over there from LIU on beam and doing them at a high level. Get one more look. Nicely done. Gets LIU back on track, adds another hit routine.
Now, speaking of things, Lauren, that I haven't seen before, we have 2 judges with the exact same score and exact same start value, and they're conferencing. Seems like they were in perfect agreement. I don't know what there is to talk about. Oh, they're gonna add it up to the level deduction. Wow. All right. Well, that's gonna be a 10th for Dunn, and that's gonna be a score that Temple will want to drop. I saw the 2 9.5s come up and thought that they hit her hard on that first pass, that break on that opening double tuck, but getting it up to the level deduction, so we'll take a 10th off there. Temple will try to get it back here after back-to-back 9.8s. Brooklyn Thomas.
Saul Thomas exhibition on beam. off, double pike to open. Really fun dance elements in this routine. Front full front layout. Nicely done. And a great hit from Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas has just come in and been so rock solid on floor as a true freshman for Temple, 9.725 in her first routine at Rutgers, 9.8 last week. And again, I think you just see kind of that extra oomph competing at home for so many of these Temple freshmen getting to make their debuts here. Over to LIU to finish up competition. Final scoring routine. This is Ellery Kane.
Front toss to back handspring step out. Those front to back series, I think always a little tougher judged. You have to make sure there is no break in that connection.
Yeah, really tough, and I think she did a good job of keeping that continuity there.
Agreed. And a little bit of an extra pressure set here. Trying to drop that fall from earlier on in the lineup. Has a bit of a touchdown on that side aerial. Did not come off the beam, but that will be a pretty heavy deduction for touching the beam coming out of that skill. A front full gainer dismount, super unique and gets the stick, so grabs a couple tenths there with the stick. Don't see that dismount every day, and it was beautifully done.
All right, so once that score comes in, we'll know the final total for LIU, and same here with the final competition routine of the day for Temple. Following a 9.7 for Brooklyn Thomas, this is Nikki Rengifo.
Double pike to open, lots of power. Showing off her artistry again here on floor. Back 1.5 front layout, stunning. Nicely done. I think it's great building off that 9.7. And a great showing top to bottom, I think, for Temple on floor.
I think they have to be very happy with how this meet went. We talked about continuing that momentum, that improvement. 193.875 so far. They'll get to add, hope, at least a few tenths by dropping that 9.5 from Robin Dunn. And now we have two exhibitions on either side for LIU. It'll be Renee Figueroa and Maya Oberman.
Handspring layout, step out.
So right now Temple has matched their score from a week ago in Gainesville. Let's see how much it'll tick up here and whether they can get over that 194 mark for the first time this season. looks like they're going to have enough to be able to do just that.
Front toss. Really nice controlled landings for these skills over on beam. And another front gainer full dismount with a little bit of a wobbly step, but a great exhibition.
Moving right over on floor, Tally Flanagan, Temple freshman, getting a chance to exhibition here on floor. You see that final score does come in. Nikki Rangifo, 9.775, and Temple is above a 194 for the first time this year.
Great start here for Flanagan. A whip back double tuck. Awesome pass. If you couldn't tell from the angle, the whip back is effectively a back handspring without your hands. Adds some extra difficulty to that pass.
All right, now over on the right side of your screen in the double box, LIU on beam. This will be the final exhibition for the Sharks. It is Maya Oberman. 9.35 from Figueroa. Again, these scores will not factor into the team scores, so what you're seeing are the final, at least unofficial scores for both sides. Temple 194.150, Long Island 191.775, both with season highs.
Little off on that handspring layout step out. A B jump to a ringed split jump, showing off that extra artistry over on beam. Gainer back full dismount. To wrap up things on beam, as our final performance on floor has just gotten started.
One you don't want to miss, Kirsten Johnson in exhibition, finishing up for Temple.
Front through to double tuck. She just has so much power. Yeah. Added with a little bit of adrenaline. I think it's always looking for Johnson to take control there and find that softer landing. But you can't help but smile and have a good time while she's out there, without a doubt.
Oh, that's why even in exhibition, a chance to compete this routine, particularly at home, in front of a home crowd in McGonigal. Something not to be missed.
Front 1.5. And that wraps up the day.
Yeah, today, Lauren, just a couple weeks into the season, each of these teams with a lot to be happy about. Temple continues their ascent as they crack 194 for the first time this season. LIU, massive improvement from a week ago where they began with a 190.4. They scrape a 192. The 191.775. Of course, room to improve on both sides between now and March, but for week 3 of the season, for LIU, just their second competition, I think a lot for both of these programs to like.
Without a doubt, I was impressed on both sides for it being so early in the season. There was really only a handful of major falls or major misses that we saw across the board, and the rest of it was either, up to the judges and just working on those little things, but you can tell that these teams are already nailing down on confidence and feeling strong top to bottom in their lineups. Even the exhibitions are going out there and putting, 110% in, and I think it's going to pay off in the weeks to come.
All right, well, that is going to do it for us this afternoon. Your final score here in McGonigal Hall, Temple getting the dual meet victory over Long Island with a 194-150. That's going to do it for all of us here. My partner, Lauren Polzio, I'm Kevin Kopp saying so long, everyone, from McGonigal Hall, where Temple gets the win and their first 194 of the season. All meets airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.